Greetings. Hope everybody is well. It is going on. It's approximately 7 o'clock. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Let me. I'm going to put this here. This particularly on IG Live. For those of you who check in on IG Live, putting out our link tree, which kind of gives you access to all of the avenues by which to get to the businesses of the family team Robinson. I see we have a guest on Conversations with Lamp. How you doing, big brother? Good to see you. Hope you all are ready for the night. I have a lot of information for you. Some of it may be a little uncomfortable, but we'll survive, right? So we're ready to go. I'm now also on StreamYard, and doing StreamYard, I can, on Facebook Live, Instagram, not Instagram, but LinkedIn and YouTube. Follow the YouTube page. The YouTube page is available. I'll put the link actually in IG so that you can have access to it. But if you follow that link tree there, you'll see the YouTube link for My Advantage LLC. Follow, like, and subscribe to that. That's where you'll get a lot of this information kind of broken up into smaller clips. We're going to be about 30 minutes today. And our topic, again, is 3 reasons doctoral students struggle gathering literature. It's approximately 7:01, and about 7:02, slightly thereafter, we'll get started. Just making sure that everything is together the way it's supposed to be, and then we'll move from there. So what I'm going to do really quick is kind of shout out the businesses and entities that support My Advantage. Starting first with Conversations with Lamp. I've known this young brother since the 90s in Suitland, Maryland, Suitland High School to be exact. He was in my second class, my second year when I started teaching. He came into my class. We've been cool ever since. We bond from everything from music to video games to sports to life in general, all that kind of stuff. He is successfully married with children, working, doing the best he can. He has a dynamite podcast, Conversations with Lamp. You can catch him on YouTube. I believe on YouTube, but if not, you can definitely catch him on SoundCloud. Just search for Conversations with Lamp. You can catch him on Instagram. Dynamite brother, amazing podcast. Really digs deep and brings a lot out of quality people that he brings onto his platform. I'd also like to take the time to shout out Bougie Shootery. Bougie Shootery is a custom Black-owned, charcuterie, woman-owned business that is amazing. I eat the food, but I've watched her in business, the way she goes about handling her business. BougieShootery.com is the website. You can catch her on IG at Bougie Shootery, on Facebook. On Bougie Shootery, she ships, so there's no excuse nationwide why you cannot get the product. She also has a special bruschetta dip that is selling off the shelves as fast as it can. I tell her she needs to raise the price, but she wants to be reasonable for her customers, and we have to respect that. So once again, Conversations with Lamp, BougieShootery.com. I'd like to also give a shout out to Dr. Ramon Goings and the DoneDissertation.com. Great site, great coaching, great strategies. I lean on him as a thought partner, and he's helped me kind of navigate getting things off the ground and going, gives great ideas. Definitely check out the Done Dissertation if you're in the dissertation stage or you're considering going into higher ed as a career. And the last couple of websites I'll shout out are First Gen Fly, makers of custom shirts. Check them out. Great product, high quality shirts, things like that. So you want to check them out. That's First Gen Fly, 1stgenfly.com. And alas, myadvantage.org. www.myadvantage.org. That is this particular site and business and consulting. What do we do? Our key offerings are online courses. We have mini courses that are about 5 courses, and we have our regular online courses, which generally are about anywhere from 9 to 10 courses that you can access with templates to do the work, with homework assignments to get things done. The one thing about it is these courses do not offer you credit towards a degree, but they do offer you a skill. So you walk away from every single class, every single course with the skill that you can take forward and then be successful in those classes that you're paying $2,000 and $3,000 for per course. So you'll take those. They offer online courses, virtual coaching is where I kind of take off, organizational consulting, both in education and in management. Myself and my other business partner have experience in management from the school level to organizations. So we can speak effectively on all of that. We even have things to help you retool your career. So resume writing, resume, cover letters, things like that. Whether you're going into higher ed faculty or whether you're going into the field of work, we cover all of those bases. Our key audience, my key audience, is pre-dissertation students who are students who are still in their coursework. So with that said, it is now 7:05 and I want to go ahead and get us started. So I want to start today with kind of a story, a tale that kind of sets up where we are and how this idea came to be. My last institution, I was part of the department. I was part of a two-person department. So we did the applications, we did the interviews, we brought in doc students and all of that. When I interviewed doc students, potential doctoral students, I like to ask them about their interest. Oftentimes, getting a person's interest and me knowing a student's interest, I can begin to tailor my coursework to their interest. I can begin to, as research ideas emerge or opportunities emerge, if I know a particular student's interest, it's easier for me to begin to pull them along and get them into the process of researching and writing in the field of their interest. Now, oftentimes, I have doctoral candidates or applicants who know exactly what they want to research about. In fact, they will tell me what they're going to write their dissertation on before they do any research, any classes, any exposure, any conversations, or anything like that. They're already telling me what they're going to do their research on. That can be scary. One, do you know enough about the topic at this moment to say definitively that you're going to write your dissertation? Now, I don't tell them that. The ones that come and interview and say they have no idea, they're an open slate, they're looking forward to learning, I say, great. Those who say that they already have their topic, I say, don't limit yourself to opening up and finding out more about the topic. So I want them to be able to do that because it's going to dictate how they go about gathering literature, doing research, writing all the papers that I'm going to demand that they write, and preparing themselves for the skill set to write their dissertation. So how open you are to hearing these things, how open you are to accepting new knowledge that's not based on what you've seen in your school, in one school, one corner of one school, in one district, in one county, in one state of the entire United States. Before you go there, let's talk, let's research, let's open ourselves up. So that is the story that kind of sets the basis of this, because if you're not clear, as we talked last week about research agendas, if you're not clear on the work that you want to do, it's going to be difficult for you to do work. If you're closed-minded on your topics, it's going to be difficult for you to accept new knowledge. So that is the reason by which we bring this to be. So the topic for tonight is 3 reasons doctoral students struggle gathering literature. 3 reasons doctoral students struggle gathering literature. Now, why did I do this? Why did I choose this topic, knowing I'm going to be talking about all this month about writing literature reviews? The reason why I chose this topic is I often have doctoral students come to me and insist that there's little literature on their topic. That the reason why they're having a problem writing on the topic they chose is because there's very little literature out there on their topic. Their topic is new, it's innovative, no one's ever heard of it before, and there's no literature on their topic. And I listen, because there can be some truth to that. Maybe no one has thought of that topic in the way that you have thought about it. Could be true. But generally, it's not true. Generally, you have to kind of break down your topic into component parts that are researchable. By this time in 2022, there is ample amount of research on almost any topic. So if you have a topic that you have not thoroughly broken down, it may be difficult for you. And that's where my job comes in. I help those students break down their topics into researchable parts. It may be that your topic is very nuanced, and therefore you have to build the literature to support it, but it can be done. And that's the reason why I want to talk to you today about 3 reasons that doctoral students struggle gathering their literature. So here are the 3 reasons in a nutshell. Ready? Reason 1. Generally, that student who struggles is choosing their passion or nothing at all. And their idea about their topics, because they want to research a topic that they're passionate about. And their idea is, if it doesn't match something that I'm passionate about, then I'm not doing it at all. So it's either the exact topic that they want or no topic exists. That can be detrimental to your ability to gather literature, conduct research, write literature reviews, and the like. That's reason 1 why they struggle. They're choosing passion or nothing. The second reason why students struggle gathering literature on a research topic is not knowing the topic well enough or its subtopics. Every topic can be broken down in component parts. Every topic is actually a subtopic of greater topics. If you don't know the topic very well, and you don't know its subcomponents, or you don't know where it lies in the field of this idea, it's very difficult to gather literature on things you don't know. It's hard to put in a search term, just a search term, on a topic you don't really understand just yet. And that's where my job comes in to help you understand the topic a little better. The third reason is not gathering literature from the best sources. Oftentimes we have students who know the topic, understand the subtopics, but they go to a weird source in order to gather the literature to actually do their research. And that weird source may not have access to the literature that they need. A lot of this literature, peer-reviewed journal literatures, are volumes that universities pay for in order that their students and researchers and professors have access to it. Instead, we go to a source that doesn't have direct access to those journals unless you buy them as an individual. So I'll get to that too. Those are the 3 reasons. 1, choosing passion or nothing. 2, not knowing the topic or subtopics. And 3, not gathering literature from best sources. So those are 3 sources, those 3 ideas. Let's go ahead and break those down. I had the fortune of engaging this morning in several Facebook groups about this topic to a degree. I asked out to Facebook doctoral students, how do you go about developing your topic? And I got a lot of things. The most important thing I got from everybody almost was something that you're passionate about. And if you remember, we talked last week about the fact that you have to be immersed and involved and excited about your topic. So we got a lot of conversation about finding things you're passionate about, finding things you already know about and are passionate about, leaning upon your experiences and things like that. All of that is great. Sounds very good. We're going to dig into that. So the first topic, the first reason that doctoral students struggle gathering literature is choosing passion or nothing. And generally what this equates to are 3 things. Walking into the situation with your mind already made up, valuing personal experience over research, which is extremely harmful, and limiting yourself by what you don't know. Now, I'll repeat those again, and then I'll dive deeper in each one. 1, walking in with your mind already made up about what you're going to research, what it's going to be about, and what you already know to be true. 2, valuing your personal experience over research. And 3, standing on a position of limitedness based on what you don't know. So the first reason is that many doc students walk in the door. If you remember the actual conversation we had about the interview process when we interviewed applicants, walk in the door with their mind already made up about what they're going to research. And they'll tell you, I already know my topic, I know what I'm going to do, things like that. And I just, okay, I'll see you on the back end. So the problem with walking in the door with your mind already made up is that you're not open to new research and learning experiences. So if you do that and you walk in not knowing what you're doing, your mind is already made up, then you stand the reason of not being open to new experiences, new learning experiences. In addition to that, you won't be able to accept challenges that challenge your interest. Ideas that challenge your interest, you're not open to them. So you're walking in blinders on, ears closed, not hearing all of those things that may challenge your interest in a new way. And that becomes very problematic because you have a lot of students who may walk in the door and they know exactly what to research, and then you hit it with new knowledge and they are turned away from that. They don't want to do any other research because they already know the truth. That can be harmful to your research. That can be harmful to your work. Karen, I see you in there, and I'm going to bring you in a quick moment. Glad you came. The second thing in this choosing passion or nothing is valuing personal experience over research. Valuing personal experience over research. The reason why that can be problematic is because often our experiences is more limited than we think they are. You might be a single school veteran. And what I mean by that is this. If you've been at one school for 27 years, you've seen things, you've gained experiences that are extremely valuable, but they can't compare to research. I can say this. I've worked as a practitioner in less schools than I've been in as a researcher. And let me reverse that. As a researcher, I've been in more schools and I've seen more variety of schools than I ever did as a practitioner. As a practitioner, I've been in 6 schools. As a researcher, I probably more than doubled that. So as researchers, you have the opportunity to have a broader experience, even if it pales in comparison to the fact that you, as an individual, have been in 1, 2, or 3 schools throughout your entire career, and you assume by being in those 3 schools, in one district, in one county, in one state, that you can speak authoritatively about what research has seen over multiple regions, states, and the entire nation. That kind of changes how personal experiences can be viewed. So I want you to think about that, valuing your personal experience over research. Now, your personal experiences do have value, but please realize what they're based upon. They may be based upon a very limited experience in comparison to the experiences that researchers go through to actually publish this research. And like I said, as a researcher, I've been in far more schools than I have ever as a practitioner, and I moved around a lot. So I want you to think about that. And the last thing is that you could be limited by what you don't know. So if you're choosing passion over nothing, it may require more than you expect it to do. It's not saying that your passionate topic is not researchable. It is. But it may require you to do longer and more extensive research than you ever expected to do. And that sometimes causes a student to say, well, there just isn't enough information on my topic. I can't do the work, or I need help. to get this work done. And that's actually what it is. You may need help to get it done because it requires more than you expected to do with it. And know this, your research experience may not, or your passionate project may not automatically have longevity. You might go into your passion project and discover that there's just not a lot to do, or the topic has been pretty well settled in the research community. And you have to now expand what you're doing in order to gain insight from that. Now, I end this particular section with this idea. Passion can be extremely illogical, kind of like emotion. Rather, you should seek immersion, something that you can become absorbed in, and it makes sense. Immersive topics last far longer than passion topics. Passion topics can fuel you up for a little while, but then because they're emotionally based, it could be illogical to pursue. Find a topic that you can become immersed in, that you can become new in, that you can begin and continue learning, and not depend on your passion. Think about our societal and personal relationships. When we first begin them, we're very passionate about these relationships, extremely passionate. And then we get in them and the passion goes away. Now, are you with a person you can stay interested in and have fun with and enjoy coming home to? Because if passion is all you have and passion dries up, and now we're headed to divorce court. So I want you to think about that as you move on. Now, the next topic, the next piece of this is not knowing your topic or its subtopics. That is critical to understanding and gathering literature, because your very nuanced topic may not have a lot of information if you just type in that topic in the word search. But if you learn to break down those topics into subtopics, you may find tons of articles that can help you in this search. For example, if I study something like organizational theory or organizational culture, that may yield me a lot of research, but when I break organizational culture down into subcomponent parts like working conditions, like retention, like leader-member exchange, like leadership mindfulness, personalities, like the hiring process, things like that, I can begin to start breaking down multiple topics and build an understanding of organizational culture. That's far better than just trying to do organizational culture alone, and whatever doesn't align to it, I dismiss. So think about that as you go into this. Every topic should break down into smaller topics. That's one point. Second point, if your topic is already a subtopic, you can scaffold upwards to the larger topic. And the last piece of this section is breaking down your topics increases the possibility of future research. Now, at this point, I'd like to bring in Karen, if you're available, to come in and actually give us a talk and join us. If you're still ready and willing, I'll check you out, see if you're ready to do that. So we have a guest coming in on IG. I'm not certain if everyone will be able to hear if you're on other platforms, but hopefully you'll be able to. Karen, how you doing? How's everything going? Good. All right. Glad you could join us tonight. So really quick, tell us about your research interest.
So my research interest is centered around brown and black girls.
All right.
Urban schools.
Okay, so let me repeat that on the other platforms. We have a guest. Her research interest is on brown and black girls. So talk a little deeper about that.
So I'm interested in seeing how they are treated as far as their academics, their social emotional health within those spaces.
Okay, so repeat for everybody again. Karen is interested in how the treatment and experiences of Black and brown girls, as far as social emotional learning, occurs or is experienced in schools. Are there any particular types of schools? Like, are you looking at Black and brown girls in private schools and public schools and um, different
Private,
private?
private schools, yeah,
Okay.
private schools one part, urban public schools another.
Okay. So both private or independent schools and urban schools. So what it sounds like to me is that you may be comparing those experiences in those different platforms. So you'll be also researching kind of like the independent school or private school experience, and then how that experience relates to Black girls and how they're taken care of. I actually had a student who did her dissertation on that topic. She was studying Black girl experiences in independent schools, and she actually looked at graduates of those schools, as well as current students in those schools, and then parents of Black girls in those schools. Um, that's a great cross section. That's a great experience. So it sounds to me like you're in a place where you can break your topic down into multiple pieces, maybe ranging from talking about the independent Black schoolgirl experience and things like that. And if you don't mind, I'll share with you the framework that my former doc student, who's now a professor somewhere else, has actually done with that particular topic. Awesome work, but that Black girl school framework, independent school framework, is what she has, and she developed that over her research. Um, in addition to that, I'm interested in how you see social emotional learning. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I'm thinking more on the lines of trauma informed
Mhm.
education as far as keeping girls, black girls in the school system because the research talks about it about them now being pushed out of school
Yes.
and so yes,
All
that's
right.
kind of like what I'm thinking
So
as far as social emotional.
excellent. Thank you for those on other platforms. What she's talking about is actually studying and understanding um, trauma informed practices, and then the whole push out of young Black girls in public schools. And that, once again, has multiple avenues by which we can begin to study. There's not a lot of, well, actually, there's a lot of scholarship out there on push out, because you can understand push out, and then push out as it relates to Black girls. And then when that push out process begins, Jacqueline Jordan Irvine talks about this in one of her books, Black Students in School Failure, that you may be looking as early as the third grade when Black girls go from being volunteers and being active in the classroom to being, and switch from that to being sassy the next year, and then begin the process of silencing Black girls. So that's another important part. That whole silencing of Black girls in the school experience. I believe Deborah Payne and um, Robin Tonette has a lot of stuff on push out, particularly in urban schools, and how that works. And this is what we're talking about: the amount of ability for you to actually find this research, break it down into subcomponent parts, because we've just talked about multiple different topics that relate to the Black girl experience in both independent schools and in urban settings. So those are what we mean by being able to tease out this topic and be able to break down those subtopics, because you now have research you have to do on social emotional learning, trauma informed experiences, school push out. School push out is related to Black girls, so you can nuance that topic as well. Um, and as you begin to look at push out, you can look at retention of young girls, programs of success. So you can start finding the success stories as well, and how resiliency is brought up and things like that. Particularly as you move Black girls into the middle school, because I've done some research that middle school has been traumatic experience for students. Um, I did a research on successful educators, and all of them had a middle school experience where someone was trying to break their spirit. So it's those are the kinds of things that you begin to sit down and really think about the topics that can break down. Although it may seem like there's not a lot of research on Black girls in trauma-informed independent schools, when you break things down, there actually is, and you begin to work that. So you have to understand those things. Now I'm going to return back to some of my notes, but Karen, as you feel need to get in, please stop me and let's continue this conversation. When you begin to start breaking down your topic into subtopics, all you're doing is talking to people first about what they know about your topic and what's being said about your topic. There's a lot of information you get in just a conversation with people, with your professors about these topics, engaging in class about these topics. And as you get this information, begin to start noting it and begin to start breaking it down. In addition to that, as you begin to sit down with your topic, take a moment before you look and start breaking down synonyms that are associated with the terms you're using in your search. Some of your university library search, university online libraries have a thesaurus where you can begin to start breaking things down. I used to find that when I searched for school leaders, the results I got were different than when I searched for principals. Just in word search alone, yield different results. So now I have to look in both, look for school leaders and look for principals. And we can understand slightly the difference, but for me in my research, I wanted to find out the experiences of school leaders. And in my mind, I thought principals. But depending on what I put in the search, I got different results. So know the synonyms, know the connecting words, all of those things that will help you extend your ability to gather literature. If you're using that subtopic, once again, you can scaffold it upwards. Sometimes your topic is a springboard to scaffolding up. For example, Karen talked about Black girls in independent schools. Well, that's a subtopic of the Black experience in independent schools, of racial tensions in independent schools, of discriminatory practices, unwelcome environments. Independent schools have had a long history of keeping us out and finding ways to keep us out, So you can begin to start scaffolding upwards to give a history, and then also scaffolding to break down, and then find how all of these things are nuanced. So you can go in both directions. You can, if you know your topic, how it connects to the larger topics, you're good. But then also knowing how your topic connects to those subtopics, going to be really good. And once again, breaking down these topics increases your possibility for future research. I'm not just trying to get you a topic that you can last for the day or for this paper. As you're building your research agenda and you're becoming a literature expert, you are now on this journey, and these topics should last you the journey. That's how you stay immersed in a topic, rather than I did it one time, it was a passion project. I may present on it somewhere and then I'll let it go. But it gives you kind of a long walk with this particular topic. The last one I want to talk about, and actually I'm going to take you to task, Karen. So the third part of the three reasons why doctoral students struggle gathering literature is just not gathering literature from best sources. And it's as simple as this. You have a university online library system. All of you who are in a doctoral program that the university pays for. Correction. The university doesn't pay for it. You pay for it in your fees and everything like that. So you're paying for the use of this online university library system. And the weirdest thing I found is some of my doc students will come to me once they're stuck. And I said, well, let's go and look at how to get some topics in. And they don't know because they've never used the university library system. They were using Google Scholar. And Google Scholar, while good, I haven't used it a lot, but while good, and I think some of my articles are on there, that's why I'm not complaining. But some Google Scholar, you can't access the actual article unless you have to pay for it. So if your university's providing you volumes of research, it's probably the best thing to use. Now, I suggest three things. First, Book time with your librarian, your university librarian. Trust when I tell you, I used to bring my librarian into my first class to talk to students. They are chomping at the bit to get access to doc students. They cannot wait to get access to doc students. And they're very good at helping you break down your topic, jump starting your search, using tools that you can to organize your search, things like that. They're expert in that university's library system, and it's their job. The second thing is learning your online library system, focusing on peer-reviewed journal articles. And then once you're reading some peer-reviewed journal articles, they also provide you a sounding board to access more literature by looking at who they're citing and then pulling those articles within the article that you're working with. And I'm not saying just take what the person said, someone else said, but actually using that to gather those articles and then pull up the other articles that help you get through. So that is another aspect of this. And then, of course, organizing yourself. If you're going to gather and pull all of these articles, and I generally in a semester will have my students pull 40 articles and do some stuff with it. Having an ongoing reference page in a Word document saved in an electronic folder. In fact, saving all of your information in somebody's electronic folder. My preference is Google folder, Google Drive. But however you do it, whether it's OneDrive or what have you, having a place where your information is stored, you can access it later. You can access it from different computers. You can access it via your phone whenever you need it. Being able to bring those things into play helps you out. Karen, tell us a little bit about you. What year are you in your doc program?
I'm in my second year.
Okay.
Yeah, my second year.
All right. So those are on other platforms. Karen is in her second year. So I'm assuming you are accustomed to using the university library.
Well, I mean, not as much as I would like to, because of the fact that COVID, and we didn't get a chance to. We don't have a chance to really go in and kind of get. So I haven't been inside my school's library.
Oh, okay. Definitely. And many of you are probably going through this. One of the things for those on other platforms, Karen mentioned, is not having the access because of COVID to actually go on campus to the library and go in that system. In many ways, then we're kind of restricted to the online version of our university library. That also then makes the meeting with librarians a little more difficult because now that's something that has to be done now online, and it doesn't have the feel that it had when I would have my university librarian come into the physical class and work with that. Or when I was a doc student, I went and sat with my librarian, who was phenomenal in helping us kind of tailor our search and get our ideas together and things like that. As being a second year doc student, what can you tell us about the importance of knowing and accessing those literature pieces?
It's important, first of all, because it allows you to have, like you mentioned before, an ongoing resource, and being able to actually locate articles that is going to be helpful to your topic or your research, whatever, your paper, whatever you're working on at the time. So I think those are the two reasons why, knowing your library, being able to access your library information and articles from your library.
All right. For those of you on other platforms, mention two reasons why this is important. The first is being able to go in and have access to your resources, have access to that research, things like that. The one thing, and I tell doc students, you don't have to know everything, but when you've chosen a topic, when you've chosen a research agenda, you are now charged with the responsibility of becoming a literature expert in those topics. The only way to do that is to actually do the reading, do the immersing yourself in this topic, the note taking, the understanding of the lineage of this research on this topic, being able to call those seminal authors into play at any point in time, and then knowing what's new. in the research. So part of becoming that literature expert is having to become new and knowing what's on the horizon of this work. And the best way to do it is to be well read. There is no escaping that. And the problem that we find in that is that, and I'll be totally candid with you, the reading process is boring. It just is. Given that, you have to master the boredom. Very few people who have been great in anything have learned to master the boring parts of life. And it says, because as you begin to master that, something goes on in your brain. You begin to understand the process, and the process becomes innate. The reason why you can walk around the house at night with the lights off and still not kick things is because you have mentally learned where things are. And you have a mental map of that. And that's what happens when you're constantly repeating the process of doing the research, doing the reading. You begin to understand these processes better, and your mind automatically takes you there, as opposed to bumping into things and not understanding stuff. You work that muscle out, and it becomes something you can do automatic. And you'll realize one day, particularly you, Karen, as you dive deeper in your research, that you're going to become a literature specialist in this. And then there's not going to be much that becomes a hindrance when you become a researcher and you take part in that process, because it's going to be easier for you to move through, easier for you to access information, and you'll be able to recall all of the greats ad nauseum, as soon as asked. You'll know that research, and you can't write about something you don't know. That's the plain point of it all. You cannot write about something that you do not know. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to begin to close out. Once again, I am Dr. Derek Robinson, and this is the Doctoral Journey with Derek. Shout out once again to myadvantage.org, thebougieshootery.com, thedonedissertation.com, firstgenfly.com. Once again, My Advantage, we do online courses, virtual coaching, and we also do organizational consulting for both schools and the world of management and public sector business. With that said, thank you, Karen, for joining me. I appreciate the time here that you spent with us. Great having you here. You're welcome on this show anytime. I want to put it to where we'll be able to access you, not just here on IG, but also on the other platforms. So we'll figure that out. I'm new to StreamYard. This is my first night using it. I tried last week. It didn't work. I'm getting it right now. So, but anytime you want to come on, this is a welcome platform for you. All right. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes everything. We will see you next week. Take care. You'll have access to these clips very soon, hopefully on YouTube tomorrow. But I'll see you there, and enjoy your evening. Bye now.